Hello, yes, it's Simon here from the Rams Writer podcast. Finally putting a face to the voice, I suppose. Some of you know me already, obviously a lot of you don't. So obviously it's the first time doing a YouTube video and what to discuss. Well, today's result is what I'm here to discuss. Absolutely shocking. You know, like as you know, I'm not one for being negative or criticising. Well, constructive criticism, yes, but not criticising. But today we were appalling, shocking, disgraceful, and even Koku in his post-match interview pretty much said the same, not in so many words, but he wasn't impressed at all, especially by the first half display. Going in at half time 3-0 down, regardless that you're away from home or not, it's not acceptable by any level. Was it the wrong players picked, the wrong team, wrong tactics, what? Don't know. It was awful, dreadful. Second half, we had to make changes. Then brought Dwayne Holmes on for Buchanan. Lowe switched to left back, Holmes switched to right back. I think Holmes made an impact, came in. I think best thing he did was actually dart up the right hand side and whip a ball in. We won a corner from it, but the stats speak for himself. They really do. I think we had 5 shots, none on target. That's 2 games now in a row. We've had no shots on target. Does that mean our strikers are poor? No, because we know Marritt's a good striker. We know Waghorn's a good striker. We're not creating clear-cut chances. I said this in my last podcast. We're not creating clear-cut chances. And, does that go down to the players we've got in midfield, or does it go down to the tactics that we're utilising? I didn't go today, but listening on the radio, we weren't creating anything. We were slow, we were lethargic, just too much sideways passing, backwards passing, sideways passing. I think there was I've seen this actually on Twitter. Someone put a video of it. And Dow had a ball played to him, and he was running away from it. And then one of the Brentford players came in to tackle him. Fair enough, he won the ball, but then he smashed a forward pass straight to their keeper. It's not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. We want to be challenging for promotion. Currently, we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near where we need to be. I've said before, I wrote an article today, we need patience, we need time, and we do. Well, I think it's just so disheartening when you see your team perform twice badly in a week. It absolutely. As you can see, this is I'm really annoyed. I'm really fuming about it. I'm not one that normally, I'll always try and find a positive. I think I tweeted just after the game. I'm always wanting to try and find a positive in a game, but I couldn't find any today, none at all. It was just that bad, and I think especially after Wednesday as well. That hurt on Wednesday. I got why he did it, but you'd expect a reaction. I know it was different players. We obviously we had youngsters and fringe players play on Wednesday against Forest. On Tuesday against Forest, but we expected a reaction as a club. Brentford have scored 2 goals before today. I said this on my last podcast. I thought it'd probably be like a 1-0 or a 0-0 because we're struggling to find goals. They're struggling to find goals, and yet they pissed all over us for 45 minutes today. It could have been a cricket score, It probably should have been. I think the only players that may have, just by listening, obviously comment or whatever, if you went to the game. But the only thing from listening, the only two players that really covered himself in a bit of glory was Keogh and Bielik. That's it. There's 11 players, 14 if you include the 3 subs. None of them really deserved any praise today. They'll know that. I'm sure Cocu will let them know that. He already pretty much. It's the first time actually after a game where we've either played badly or lost or whatever, he's actually come out now and said, no, that is not acceptable. That's what he said. So he knows that sort of level and that sort of standard isn't acceptable. And I think for Derby at the moment, the international break is come at a good time, because it gives us a chance to get players like Bogle hopefully fit, and I mean, that's the only defence we've got at the moment, is we haven't got a proper defence. We've got a right back. Our right back is essentially a left back, so he's got no, I've said before, he's got no right foot. Max Lowe's not got a right foot. Apparently not. He doesn't, we don't see him bombing up the line confidently like he does on the left-hand side that we've seen before. We don't see that on the right-hand side. Same with Buchanan, who he looked a bit out of his depth against Forest on Tuesday night. Listening and hearing people's comments, even people that went to the game and stuff like that, well out of his depth. I think Eric Steele said, Eric Steele said at half time, when the change was made at half time, that he's had a tough day, and he did look out of his depth a bit today, which is fine. It's understandable, because really Buchanan's a centre back, and he's playing left back. All our left backs are injured or not fit. Malone apparently is not fit. Forsyth's injured. So Lowe's the only left back we've got, and because Bogle and both Wisdom are injured, he's had to fill in. So the international break has definitely come at a good time. Cocu's now had 8 games, is it? Yeah, 6 league games, 2 cup games to assess what he's got in his squad, what ability he's got, what he's lacking, what he needs. So he's got no excuses now not to change. Because the past 2 games have been far, far, far from where we should be at. We have been missing players. Granted. Holmes, again, he got 90 minutes against Forest, and he's he got 45 today. But he's at right back. We don't need him at right back. He needs to be in that central midfield position. That's got to change. So hopefully he could be fit. It was surprising that Chris Martin was playing for the under-23s last night. Scored as well, scored a free kick. Could he possibly in Cocu's future plans? Because what we've seen so far is Marriott's had minutes in the 23s. I think Marriott did. In the 23s. Then he's went to the first team. Holmes as well. In the 23s. Now in the first team. Martin was nowhere near the squad, nowhere near the under-23s. All of a sudden he's given him game time. Unless he's being loaned out, which I highly doubt. The transfer window ends for the rest of the rest of Europe and whatnot. League 1s to Scotland and all that. I think it's Monday. So, will it, if he's still here, I know it's stupid, but maybe sound daft, but here's another option. At this moment in time, our strikers are getting nothing. With Chris Martin being the player he is, he's a target man. The midfielder have just got to pass it to his feet. There was times today where Marriott was on the shoulder trying to run in behind the defence. He was getting it to his feet. He doesn't want it there. Doesn't like it at his feet. He wants it ahead of him. He wants to run onto it. So maybe Chris Martin could be making an appearance after the international break as that focal point, even if it's on the bench. I'm not saying start. I'm just saying maybe as a focal point in attack, give him the ball and then let Marriott or whoever run off him. Lawrence, whoever's on the wing, whoever midfield, let him run off him because that's what he's good at. We know that. He showed that last night for the 23s. His hold up play and knocking balls, bringing other people into play. If he can produce some of the form that he had a few years ago, it could be. I'm not saying it is and always going to be. I know it's like, we have got other players and stuff, but it's just strange that all of a sudden he's not played at all season. Been anywhere near the squad, near the 23s, and yet yesterday got some minutes for the 23s. So is he saying, let's have a look, let's see what you can offer, do well for the 23? Because obviously, Chris Martin wants to be playing for the first team. So maybe he's had a knock on his door and said, look, I want to play, boss. Well, go and show him what you can do, and then we'll take it from there. That's how football works. Players get annoyed they're not in the squad or playing or anything like that, and they go have a word with the manager. So I'm not saying it's going to happen or it will happen, or it might not work, but it's an option. And, Derby need options at the moment, attacking wise. I think it's our midfield at the moment just seems unbalanced, weak. We're missing that creative spark. Could that be Dwayne Holmes that fills in there? Yes, we saw last season that he can do that. He can run at players. He can set things up. He's a threat. Again, likewise, is Huddleston's days numbered. We heard, Cocu was saying that, Bielik is a centre. He is a centre back, but he'll be playing centre back until after the international break. Does that mean that Huddleston's going to be dropped because you prefer Bielik playing in that holding role, which is I'm quite happy for. I think a lot of you guys are happy for that. You'd rather have Bielik in that holding role than Huddleston, and then bringing Matt Clark back into defence, in central defence. So there is options. As I said before, if we are playing a bit of a mishmash of in the back four, you've got your two centre backs, that's fine. Whether it's Clark and Keogh, Clark and Bielik, Keogh and Bielik, obviously Keogh. It's just obviously your wing backs. We might have to switch to three at the back. Brentford played three at the back today. They played 3-4-3. So that's an option. Or if he wants to play three men up front, that's fine. It's fine by me. If he wants to play 3-4-3, I've made it clear that I'm not the biggest fan of three at the back. But when we did play against Bristol, we did look dangerous. We looked more threat. Whether that's because they obviously sat back behind the ball, and gave us that possession. But again, we switched to it at Stoke and scored as well. So there is options. For me, yes, we could. Three at the back is one of them. Even if it's like and then you can put Marriott and Waghorn up top together. Marriott's then got someone to play off because that's what he likes. So then who's your five in midfield? So you three at the back for me. Then it would probably be Clark, Keogh, and Bielik. Midfield, then you're going to have Huddleston in there or even Evans, but I think Huddleston, he can control the game a bit more, and if he's got four other midfielders inside with him, he'll probably be a bit better, because when he plays that role on his own, he does struggle. I wouldn't put two defensive midfielders in there. Who's your, then you got to look at your next four. So for me, Lawrence would be in there, Holmes in the centre, maybe Knight, and then I think Bennett on the right or Patson on the right. For me, Dow's been a passenger all season. He's not looked good. He's not looked like the player that he looked like in pre-season. Pre-season he looked pretty decent, but since the league started, he's looked poor. And Koku's made that clear as well. Koku said that, I think I read it in the Telegraph. He needs to start performing. And he does. Again, he's not performed. You would have thought if he's publicly called out a player, that player would react. Dowell's not reacted. If you don't want to be here, mate, go back to Everton. Because we don't want you here. You ain't going to play minutes at Everton. You can't even hack it in a Championship. You know, so if you don't want to be here, because at the moment you're playing like you don't want to be here. That's what it feels like to me. You know, there's a good player in there. I've seen that. I've seen it when he played at Forest. I saw it when he played at Sheffield United. That he is a good player. At the moment, he's not producing it, and it's a bit of. It just feels like a bit of kick in the teeth at the moment. You've had a player on loan. You've put faith in him essentially, and he's just not performing. You know, maybe there's reasons why he's not performing that we don't know about, but he's a footballer, and at the moment it's a bit disappointing that he's not performing for us, because he's, you know, we brought him in to essentially replace Mount. Is he finding too much pressure to fill that void? Because obviously Mason Mount is a top player. We could see that. He's showing it now in the Premier League for Chelsea. He's showing that. So, you know, for me, I think some players need to look at themselves and, you know, really, you know, do they want to be here? Do they want to play? You know, again, I've said before, I don't like criticising players, but, you know, maybe it's because I'm in a bit of a bad mood because I was expecting more than we got today. You know, but I just, for the first time, I think in a long time, that I've not been able to see or get any positives out of the game, and it just it's disappointing. You know, I don't like seeing the Cocu out route, you know, and all that. I don't like that, but you know, everyone's entitled to opinion. I don't think he'll be sacked. You know, regardless of us of some of the fan base that are saying he's got to go. You know, he needs time. He needs to get used to the Championship. That's what Liam Rossini was brought in. I thought was to obviously sort of advise him on what the Championship's like, etc. And against Huddersfield, he got it right. Against Swansea, you know, did he get it right? Did he not? Again, though, you know, Waghorn scores that penalty. It's a different ball game against Swansea, but he didn't. You know, but saying that, Swansea have, you know, I think they've not dropped any. That's the only points they've dropped this season so far. So that's a valuable point, really. If you look at things, I think they're top of the league. They beat Leeds today. Stoke, another one. Started off like a train. Scored an early goal. You think, right, let's go punish him now. And we didn't. We let them on to us. Then they scored, you know, twice, and then we obviously we got the equaliser. But I think there is a bit of a struggle to adapt to the league at the moment. But he's had, like I say, he's had 8 games now. I know 2 of them are cups, but he's had 6 league games, 2 cup games to assess really what is in his squad, what he needs, who he thinks his best 11 is. Because at the moment, I don't think we've seen his best 11 because we can't. He cannot put his best 11 out because the players aren't available. So that means he's got to judge on what he, you know, see. And I'm all for bringing youth in, you know, I don't mind that, that's fine with me. I thought we'd see someone like Sibley at least on the bench today because he wasn't in the 23s yesterday. Whether he's got a knock or something, I don't know. But I don't mind bringing youth in, that's fine. I think Buchanan's been chucked into the deep end a bit because, you know, he's had no choice, really. It was the same as Bogle, but Bogle adapted quicker than Buchanan. You know, Buchanan looks like he's struggling. I mean, nothing against Buchanan, I mean, he's been picked for England. Under 19s, so well done. That's a brilliant achievement, especially for Derby. You know, 3 players picked. You know, Whittaker as well, and Sibley, all been picked for England under 19s. But at right, he's not a left back. He's not a left back. He's not a right back. He's a centre back. So he's going to struggle. So, you know, but he's stood up to the task. He's done what he can do, but he is going to struggle there. So it is a bit harsh on him. Knight did alright against West Brom. I didn't really hear much of him in the game today. Is he ready to step up yet? So but he's got to look at these players and to see if they're ready or not. So I get that. I honestly get that. That's fine. That doesn't bother me one bit. But when you've got players like Dowell who've done it before, when you've got players like Patterson again who's been in this league before, and Patterson at the moment has not really been given a chance, I suppose. He's not played much. A couple of cameos off the bench. Again, we can say our transfer window was poor. It was poor, really, but we haven't really got any funds. Despite what obviously Lampard, we would have got off Chelsea for him and whatnot. Clearly, Mel doesn't want to sell a big asset like we did. We had to obviously sell Vidra last season to bring in Marriott, Waghorn, Malone, Holmes. All the players he brought in last season. I don't think Mel wants to do that again. Because our biggest asset at the moment is Jayden Bogle. Really, he at the moment is our biggest asset, I think. But obviously, he sold some youngsters, Delap, McDonald, McAllister, Thomas, and that's fine by me. Obviously, clearly you would have said, "Do you think this can make it?" Not sure, but we're getting money for our young kids. It means we can bring more in. And it's a different way of trying to get some funds, etc. So, we'll just see. It is early on in the season. Still very early. And I think it's not the worst start we've had in terms of points and results and things like that. I don't think it is the worst. I think a lot of it is obviously down to losing against Forest already. That's not helped anybody, putting a weakened side out, and then losing, and then obviously getting battered today. I don't think that's really helped with how everyone's feeling. Had we not drawn Forest, in the cup, and it'd been someone else, and he put the kids out and we lost, we wouldn't be that bothered. Then if we got, obviously, as we've done, if we got railroaded again today, it'd probably be a different thing. There probably won't be the cocky outs and stuff like that. Maybe we're just like, oh God, we're a bit crap, etc. I think a lot of it is to do with what he did against Forest, and and putting that weakened squad. You got to think that there was still some first teamers in that squad. You look at Davis, Evans, Shinnie, Bennett. There was the three young lads. And then Hamer, but none of them really stepped up. That was their chance then to give themselves a shout and say, look, I'm ready, I want to play first team. None of them stepped up really for me. But it's happened, it's done with. Like today's done with now. But now, that's what I'm saying, I think the international break has come at a great time. I normally hate international breaks, but I'm glad we've got this one, because then again we've got two tough games: Cardiff home, Leeds away. There's no easy games in the Championship, but those two are going to be massive. If we can get 3 points out of that, I'll be happy. If we get 4 points, that'd be nice. Leeds. They're again. They're near the top of the league. Had a great start. They've kept the majority of the squad, got the same manager. It's right to do the same as last season. Almost worked. So, going to be 2 tough games. But we need to get something out of them. Really. Realistically, we need to get something out of them games. We know that. Obviously, the manager knows that. The players will know that. But he gets a chance. There's no excuses really. He's got to at least put on a performance. I'm not bothered if we don't win every week. It's not a big deal to me. But if we play poor every week like we did today, we play like that every week, and that's not acceptable. Not as a fan, As a paying fan, if it's home, away, whatever, that isn't acceptable. You do not expect to see your team do that, play that badly. So, for me, there's no real excuses now. you know, he's got to look at going, right, I cannot have, you know, this 4-3-3 or whatever he plays, because I haven't got the players to play it. Right, okay, we'll switch to 3 at the back. That's fine by me. I'm not bothered about playing 3 at the back. He switched to a 4-4-2 today. That was, wow, you know, great. I don't mind that. At least Koku's willing to change tactics, change formations. You know, he's got a plan B, C, and D, and whatever. You know, plan A is not working at the moment. So hopefully we can have this 2 weeks off. We can all calm down a bit. Come away from the football. Enjoy time at the weekend, family, or I don't know, whatever you want to do at the weekend. You know, and then 2 weeks today, Cardiff at home. We get Pride Park rocking. You know, we have a bit of a rivalry with them because of Snowgate. I don't get that at all, really. Why put gate or whatever? So they're going to be looking for revenge because we beat them 3-1. You know, so hopefully we can put a result in and kickstart our season. I think that's anyway too. Forget August. August is gone. Yeah, we've got 1 win. You know, 5 points is it? I think we've got 2 losses in the league. That is. So that's it. We start in September. Start against Cardiff. That's the start of our season. You know, play Cardiff and say we beat them. Be nice. You know, they're not the greatest team. You know, people. I can't believe people haven't tipped to go straight back up. I thought they were lucky to go up last time, to be honest. I think it was just a poor league that year. But no, beat Cardiff. Everyone's got a smile on the face. Go to Leeds. We all know what happened last time we went to Ellen Road. Can we get the same result? It'd be nice if we can. That, to be honest, I think if we got a result against Leeds, I think that will put, you know, it would you know, sort of kill that Koku out sort of thing that's going amongst the fans at the moment. Because for me, do you know what? Leeds feels almost a bigger rival than Forest do. I think it's just because of the history last season and everything that went off last season. So I want to beat Leeds. You know, I don't. You know, Forest is gone now. We've got them again in November. We can put the record straight there. But let's go to Leeds. They'll be baying for our blood and they'll want revenge. So we've got to stand up to that and we've got to just put them on their arses again. You know, let's make them cry again. You know, so that's it. That's it, really. You know, a bit disappointing today, but early doors, I suppose. International break at the right time. September, we start again. We start our season properly in September. So, thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe down there somewhere, that red button. I might do more. I might do more of these videos, depending on how they get on. And I'll be doing podcasts, vlogcasts, and my blogcast, whatever. You know, vlogs and pods, something like that. But yeah, anyway. Thank you for watching. If you watch, thank you for listening to my podcast as well, guys. I'm getting a lot of response on that. You're even now starting to call me out on Twitter. That's fine. That's fantastic. I like that. Thank you for reading my articles. You know, really, thank you so much for the support, guys. Anyway, if I do this again, I'll do it again, and I'll see you next time. If not, I'll be doing a podcast again, probably sometime next week. I might do. I don't know actually. Depending on anything that happens at the club, but I might do one or I might have a bit of a break. Anyway, until next time, guys, come on Derby. See you soon.